Hello and welcome. In this class, I will be making you understand that actually there are basically two types of voltage stabilizer. We have the microcontroller base and the non-microcontroller base. And in this class, we will be talking about the non-microcontroller base. In this section, the last class we talked about other components, but left with the IC and the IC and the variable resistor. So once again, the IC, we have three major IC and stabilizer. Some uses LM324, while some uses TC4069 and include TC4011. Once again, in any way, in whatsoever way, one of the first things when you come across these ICs, you don't have to be scared. You just have to look for the properties of this IC and see what they are and see their function and understand what they are doing in these stabilizers. First of all, let me go into the LM324. LM324, as you see, is an operational amplifier. And what we mean by operational amplifier, used to amplify signal in amplifying circuits or power amp. But in this case, it is used as a comparator. I want to let you know that what do we mean by a comparator is a simply way means comparing something. If you look at this IC, it has 4-in-1. So if you look at these ICs, we have 4-in-1. So once again, the LM324, if you want to search for an IC and understand the pin configuration, the simple way to do it is to type the IC and add pinat to it. Pinat, they will show you the pins of that IC, even though you want to search for a transistor. If you type in the name of the transistor and add pinat to it, they will show you the pin configuration of that transistor, the pin configuration of that IC. And you click on image. When you click on image, you see more on it. The image will give you the image format of it. But if you leave it like that in all, it will give you site on which you can get that. But I prefer clicking image because I want to see the image. So once again, this is how you search for that. And that will help you to understand the pin configuration before you start working on that board. This is one of the techniques of troubleshooting. You have to understand that IC in that board before you start working. Now, if you look at the picture here, what you see is you see the pins. He had 14 pins, and they start counting from the left down to the right. The first pin there is output 1. This IC had 4-in-1. If you look at the diagram properly here, you find out that they count from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, start 8, 9, 10. So they go anti-clockwise. That's how they count it. So it has 4-in-1 op amp. That is 4 circuits inside one. And each of those circuits, you see it inside. Each of these circuits is used to trigger one or two things in voltage stabilizer. And when it gets to circuit diagram, you will understand more. The number of variable resistor you see in a board is linked to one of those legs. This is used as a comparator, and the way it works is that, let's take from example A. You see that 1 is output, 2 is input, 3 is input. But the difference between input 2 and 3 is that input 2 is negative, input 3 is positive. Let me make this clear. Let me repeat again. Input 2 is negative, input 3 is negative. So they use it to compare voltage before it gives an output. Now, how does it give you an output? When the voltage at pin 2, which is the negative, is lower than the voltage at pin 3, which is the positive, you get an output at pin 1. So also in the other B, when the voltage in pin 6, which is the negative, and the voltage is pin 5, which is the positive, is higher than that of the negative in pin 6, you get an output. But if the voltage in pin 6 is greater than that of pin 5, meaning negative greater than the positive, it will not give you an output. So this is the manipulation they do in stabilizer to get an output. At a particular voltage, they made the calculation in such a way that because they need to get that particular voltage, or because they need to get that particular relay to trigger, is being configured and calculated in such a way that a voltage at pin 2 or pin 3 gives you either an output or a non-output at pin 1. When you get to the circuit diagram, we will explain more on this. And if you watch more, you see pin 4, that is the VCC, some call it V+, that is where they power it from. And you see 11 as the ground. So this is to help you troubleshoot. Maybe you see it in the board, you just have to read it and see the voltage across the voltage used to power the voltage regulator. Once again, you power it at pin 4 and pin 11, and A, B, C, D are the input of which they use to trigger it. This is the end of this class concerning LM324. And the next class I'll be talking on the next IC 4069. Thank you.